Dawn, do you know what I'd like to do first of all? I'd like to sort of strip this back. And you know, and I know there'll be a lot of people watching. And they will say, right, well, there we are. We see her. She's pulled over as a passenger in the car. The driver's pulled over. And some people will look at this and they will say, and she's politely asked a few questions. And then they'll also say, so what's the problem? Will you please explain to those people who cannot see a problem what you think the problem is?
So the problem is why were we stopped in the first place? The police said that they inputted the number plate wrong into their system and it came up that it was registered in North Yorkshire. So then the question is, if you're from North Yorkshire, are you not allowed to travel to East London? And so this is where 20 years ago, when Macpherson talked about the police being institutional racist, it's about having biases hardwired into a system. And because of that, it leads to a disproportionate effect on certain groups of people. And so what we have to...
The bias, as you see it, is that why on earth would... And correct me, it's two black people in the car we're talking about, yeah? The only reason I bring that up, Dawn, is you know and I know there's a lot of talk going around social media and videos which obviously have been doctored, and these are the sort of things that you are up against. We'll let you talk about that. But the bias, as you see it, is that why would two black people from North Yorkshire be in central London? That doesn't add up. That's the way you see it. That's the presumption. That's how it's hardwired.
No, why? Yeah, why is it suspicious? So, I mean, all the police have to say is, I mean, honestly, as I said, I had no problems with how the stop happened. But if we are going to really tackle the system and where the system is wrong, then we need to understand how the system works and why it's working the way it works.
OK, let me just get this straight. Are you against stop and search per se?
No, stop and search needs to change completely because it doesn't work in its current form. There, of course, that the police will have to stop people. Of course, they will have to have conversations with people. Of course, you know, they have to eradicate crime. But if you're using a system where 85% of the time there's no action, so it's only 15% of it that it works some of the time, it's not a very good system. If you're only using a system that's 15% correct, it's not a very good system.
But how would you, Dawn, how would you change it? How would you change that?
Oh, but there are loads of work. Stopwatch has done a lot of work in regards to how it needs to change. And I'm talking to the Met and Stopwatch and Liberty, and we're all getting together to discuss how we can change the system and make it work, how we can remove what is hardwired into the system. So if you see two black people driving in an area in a fairly decent car, you don't automatically assume, all right, they must be up to mischief, or I wonder what they're doing in the area. You need to do your policing that is based on facts, or the policing that's based not on, you know, a bias or an intuition. It's got to be based on something that's going to result in a better outcome.
Would the police in this case, Dawn, not have said, you know, we put the registration in to the police computer? That might happen more often than we all know. And that it was based in Yorkshire. The car was based, then came up as based in Yorkshire. That they thought it possibly was a stolen car at that point.
What if you're from North Yorkshire? You can drive to East London or you can drive to North West London. It doesn't mean that you're stolen. You know, at the end of the day, people are having staycations. They're going to be driving all over the country. If that's how you're going to base your policing, it's not really based on much intelligence. You know, policing needs to be based on intelligence. It needs to be based on reasonable suspicion. It needs to be based not on assumptions, not on any form of bias. You're perfectly entitled, if you're from North Yorkshire, to come to Brent. We'll welcome you in Brent. So that's not really a great way to police.
I think you'll hear a defence, maybe, that police might say it was old-fashioned gut instinct. That sort of doesn't ring well with you, does it?
Well, the problem is if you base policing on gut instincts, we all have individual and different gut instincts. So therefore, the policing will not be consistent. don't forget that black people are over-policed. They are 10 times more likely to be stopped and searched. When it comes to Section 60, they are 40 times more likely to be stopped and searched. Section 163, there's 5.5 million stops every single year. So gut instinct is not the way to police.
Okay.
We have to police on intelligence and reasonable suspicion. That is, and the police, the good police officers will say that themselves. They want to have a system that people have confidence in. And I'm saying let's build that system so that we can have confidence in that system. This isn't a new debate. This isn't new discussion. This has been going on for many, many years. People have been complaining for many, many years. Just imagine, Eamon, that if every time you came out of your house, you need to make sure you got your driving license, your passport, because, you're driving in a nice car because of the colour of your skin, you're scared that you're going to be stopped. That's not a great way to start your day. So we need to make sure that we have confidence in the system. And that's why it's important that I work with the police and other people work with the police too, and we build a system that works. Yeah. Now is the time to build that system that works and remove the institutional racism that exists. People get scared when you say racism because they say, you're calling all the police racist. No, I'm not. If the system has races built into the system, you're just doing what the system is telling you to do, and the system is failing the police officers as well as failing the community.
Dawn, it's funny you say to me, imagine if that happened, because all my years between 17 and 26 was spent like that in stop and search, being a Catholic from Northern Ireland, visiting nationalist areas. And there were two ways of dealing with this, Dawn. You either basically accepted and realised you hadn't done any wrong and you accepted what may be termed as harassment, or you realised that that's where a lot of the trouble was emanating from or happening in those areas and whatever, and that's why you were being stopped. Or you reacted against it and basically got yourself a charge or arrested. And I saw it all. I witnessed it all, absolutely, and a level of stop and search that, however bad it was for you on Sunday, believe me, you will never have experienced it. So I totally empathise with where it happens and why it happens, even though it may not be right. But could I ask you this? 2 days on, and you've created such a stir, and this debate is happening, everybody's talking about this now. Do you think you've achieved anything?
You say that I've created a stir. Well, I'm glad that we're having the debate around stop and search and how Black people are over-policed. Those people that have been online, that have been racist and discriminatory and threatening to kill me, they're the ones that are creating a stir. What have I achieved? I've achieved this. We are going to have a debate and a discussion with the police, with the relevant organisations, and we are going to create a system where people can have confidence in. And actually, I'm proud that I've been able to do that, because for too long, people have been over-policed. And the thing is to suggest that Black people are more prone to crime or criminal activity because that's where the crime is coming from is incorrect. There are pockets of problems, yes, there are, but to create an environment where if you are Black, you are assumed to be a criminal is not good for anybody or our country.
I know you've got a meeting, Dawn, tomorrow with the Met Police Commissioner, Cressida Dick. What will you be saying to her?
We will be talking through how the system actually works, how the system structurally works, what is hardwired into the system, what can we take out of the system to make sure it is policing that works for everybody, and we build confidence in the policing and confidence in the system. We don't want communities to be over-policed. We want crime to be eradicated from our streets, but let's have a system that works that way. If you have a system that's only 15% success rate, that is not a great system. I'm sure you couldn't do your job if you only had a 15% success rate. You have to have a better success rate than that. So we need a different system.
Dawn Butler, thank you very much indeed for your time today. Appreciate hearing from you. We're now going to switch to former Metropolitan Police Detective Sue Hill for her take on what Dawn Butler had to say. And Dawn Butler, basically, quite a lot of the time she used the term Black people being over-policed. Has she got a point?
Well, do you know what? It's just so frustrating. You know, we're talking about someone who was stopped. Keying error, somebody keyed in a number following the car, happens every day of the week, and they got stopped. It wasn't about stop and search. This is a 163 Road Traffic Act stop. Somebody got stopped. She happened to be in the driver or passenger seat, and then videos, a long recording. I don't understand why, because actually...
She doesn't understand why she was
Why
stopped.
she was stopped.
Why was she stopped?
But hold on, Eamon. We've only seen seconds, a few seconds of an 8-minute recording. I know the borough commander that she works very closely with, Dawn, up in Brent, who's a very forward-thinking young man, who one of my protégés, a great guy, who would sit down and have a conversation with Dawn. What a shame. If you want to make a difference, why put it all over Twitter? Because what it causes is racial disharmony. It gets those people out there, the trolls, it gets them all out there. Why not diffuse it? As a politician, as an activist, whoever you may be, you want to make a difference. Why do you need to do it all over Twitter?
Because she feels she needs to do it because she's doing it for people who don't have a voice.
But she has a very strong voice. In Brent last night, I'll just give you an example why I get frustrated. There was a young man stabbed to death, or not, no, I hope he hasn't died. He was stabbed last night. A young black police officer that has been stabbed. But today, we are talking about somebody who was stopped. And as she said, they were very polite. The officers were very decent. And they explained, and I'm sure when you see the whole recording, that you will know they made it very clear, we stopped you, we keyed in the wrong number. It's about putting something, you could do the same.
I think her question, Sue, is why were they keying in the number in the first place? So
because, Ruth,
I think what she's insinuating is that they saw the car, they saw two black people driving a BMW, and they go, that can't be their car, and then they keyed in the number. I think that is the problem here.
Ruth, you don't know the facts. They were behind the vehicle. They were behind some distance, my understanding, but it will all come out, I'm sure, when she's seen the commissioner. They were behind the car. Now, the cops are out there every day, and I would expect them, when nothing is happening, to be out there. Clone vehicles, clone plates are out there. Vehicles are out there committing crime. I'm not saying they were committing crime. They keyed in the wrong number and pulled them over, explained, sorry, we stopped you. And they given it. I've been stopped. I don't get upset about it. My friends have been stopped. I was out for lunch yesterday in Wharton on the river, and we were having a chat about this, and no end of us have been stopped. We don't get the video out and record everything that's being said.
Yeah, but she might say that you might have been stopped once, twice maybe, that if you're black, you'd have been stopped a lot more than that.
Oh, my understanding, Dawn's only been stopped once. That was my understanding. Sorry, I didn't realise she'd been stopped a number of times.
No, I'm not saying her. I'm saying that that's the assumption, isn't it? That white people can say, well, I've been stopped, you know, they pulled me over, I said, yes, what can I help you with? And they sent me on my way. Black people say, well, that might have happened to you once in your lifetime, Ruth. It happens to us a lot, and we believe it's because we're black.
Right. You can sit here and say that all day. What I'm saying, as a politician, you are there to diffuse and work with the police and work with, for the greater good. Another young man was stabbed in Brent last night, where Dawn is the MP. I would like to see today we spend time making appeals about all those young people who were stabbing each other, rather than one stop, a 163. It wasn't a stop and search. There is a difference.
But
so
Dawn Butler pointed out that this is a system that has a 15% success rate, and she's saying it doesn't even work.
Do you know what, Eamon? I reinvestigated every murder, undetected murders, post Stephen Lawrence, and we could go on forever about the numbers of young people, black on black murders, killings, young people. I've seen so many mothers over the years. I've gone to see them and say, I can tell you who's killed your son, but I can't get you justice. There is a bigger debate here around drugs. And when she's talking about profiling, I would say this is a different issue. That stop was because someone keyed in the wrong number. There is a whole debate about stop and search going on. What it won't help race relations when we've got an MP continually, you know, she was talking about institutional racism. The Met have come a long way. I started in the 70s. Was there racism then? Yes. Is there racism now? I'm sure there is, but nowhere. Every organisation has sexism, racism, you name it, at every large organisation. But I can reassure you, I've got friends, family. I'm from a big family of cops, serving past and present. And, you know, they go out there every day, these young officers, trying to do the best. They're trying to protect us and doing the best for us and keep it safe. You know what? Sometimes they make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But can we stop this hostility and criticism of Met officers? Because soon what will happen, I think you said it, do we not stop anyone then? Don't stop anyone unless they're white. Because unless you do that, we are going to continue to have this debate. And you know what? Right now, people are dying on our streets of London, young men killing each other. And let's focus on that and what we can do. Many years ago, we had a massive conference and I brought everyone together. I had to draw up a strategy for London, 2007, when the peak of killings of young men. And it broke my heart. I saw too many young men on slabs. The wider issue is stop and search saves life. And you know what? It takes knives off the streets, and that's what we need to do. And I hope Dawn will get with Roy Smith, the borough commander from Brent, who's all over Twitter right now saying, please support the police. We need you, and they need us.